Good. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Authentic Racing E-Series. That's not the series that we're doing, but we are here anyway. My name is Olaf, aka Vops Racing, and I'm joined by Peter Cornelius here in the no, not in the commentary booth, but he is going to be here in the broadcasting direction. And what we're looking at today is our second round in the 2023 WTCR series. And that is going to head on to the Hungaroring with these lovely graphics that we have made. I haven't made. I haven't had a hand in it. I can thank Ollie Hutton for that one. He's going to be driving, and he's an expert in the graphics. Last week we were at Vallelunga in Italy. Today we are in Hungary at the Hungaroring, and next week we're moving on to El Pinar to finish off the season at Portimao, Bathurst, and Macau. I'm excited. Last week saw some very interesting racing going on, and that's what you can see here as the championship standings. William Johnson in first place, 3 points ahead of Ollie Hutton and Jacob Ellis. Only 2 points behind that in third place. Now, one thing to note is that Thomas Potter has been dropped down to sixth place. He had a good podium in the first race. He got P3, and in the second race he also had a P3, but got dropped down all the way down to 12th place after some post-race incidents. So he's got something to fight for today from 6th place. 20 points, that's 16 points behind our leader, and that is something that we're going to be looking at. According to these standings, the drivers have also received some extra ballast. That starts off with P1 getting 50 kilograms of ballast, P2 gaining 40 kilograms, all the way down to P5, which gets 10 kilograms of ballast. And that's on top of the extra ballast that the Elantra drivers already have of 25 kilograms. Now, to make it fair, is that the Elantra is a little bit stronger than all the other cars. It's not just on performance, that is going to be on tire wear, and this extra little bit of weight will make sure that these tires degrade a little bit faster, making them on par with the rest of the grid. Enough yapping about numbers, statistics, and all other stuff. I think it's time we go on to the track and time to set our grid for today. We have Matt Reid currently in first place. It is a 151.8. And I believe that that's a lap time that we can improve on. Unsure if there's been any faster laps set recently. This is the fastest lap so far. Adam Lyle is in second place. Rick Corvers is in third. And Rene Young is in fourth. One thing to note is that all four of those drivers are driving the Elantra. So that is an interesting little thing of note. Something that we'll have to keep out for during the race. They, of course, have that extra ballast, but they still are pretty quick. So the final few bits of qualifying are being run now, and we'll have a race after this. Not a race, we're going to have 2 races, and both of these races will be 25 minutes plus 1 lap, just like last week, or last time, it's 2 weeks ago at Vallelunga. And race 2 will have the top 10 reversed. So that means if you finish on pole position or finish in P1, you will be starting race 2 in 10th place. And if you finish in 10th, then you will start in pole position for race 2. So all those things considered, these drivers will be doing all of their best to ensure that they will get a good race going and some good results in. Last week we had a lot of incidents and a lot of racing, I should say. Well, not incidents. It was mostly racing. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of cars doing some wheel banging, some door banging as well. Some taps to the rear, some taps to the front. But most importantly, we had very good competition. Race 1 saw, I believe, that was Adam Lyle run away with it. Just barely, I believe, ahead of some of the other guys that were right behind. For example, Johnson in second place and Potter in third. So they were all very close. And I believe in race 2, we had something similar. Adam Lyle currently in second place with the number 1 car, just a few hundreds, actually 200 shy of pole position behind Matt Reid as we have our final 3 minutes. Oh, just as I say that, he goes to 1.5 hundredths quicker than Matt Reid and puts it on pole position. So that is again in the Elantra with that extra ballast, and Adam Lyle is in possession of a 20 kilogram extra ballast because he did get 4th place in the standings. Ollie Smith moves it up to 3rd place. That's going to be about half a second behind Matt Reid. So the gap there is still slightly bigger, a little bit bigger than we want it to be. William Johnson is now in 6th place. That's our championship leader, who is in the Cupra. Not really too confident on this track just now. He did say he liked Vallelunga a lot, and that's probably why he came out in first in the standings. Now he's got to show what he can do on the rest of the calendar. Most importantly, the Hungaroring. a pretty famous track, I should say. As Noah Barnes goes up to P7, right behind William Johnson. The action zones here, I was going to show turn 1. That's not possible, sadly. This will be a section here. Turn 7, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, turn 6 actually. Gonna be an action zone there as they try to go side by side after a very very fast left-hander. So they're heading on to a little bit more mid-speed section. This is really a place that you can't overtake too well at. If you're side by side, it'll slow you down massively. As you can see with the Raid here, doing these sweeping moves left and right all across the track. Trying his best to keep the car on the line. And here it is at turn 1, a very, very long straight. And of course, a very sharp corner, as you can see. Ellis here navigate turn 1. It's a almost 180-degree turn. With the little DRS sign there that we are not using. These cars do not have movable rear wings. That's a shame, because I would love to see them use it a little bit, but on the other hand, don't think it would achieve much in these cars. These guys mostly rely on the mechanical grip, and they are super, super fun to drive. As Matt Raid is showing just that, half a tenth quicker than, actually almost a tenth quicker than Adam Lyle, as he puts it on pole position with only 30 seconds to go. Lyle now previously on the lap, 2-minute 2, definitely one of the cooldown ones. And Johnson, yeah, 53.3. Don't think that was a cooldown lap, but it was one that he needs to improve on. Lyle currently not faster in Sector 1. He's making the rounds through Sector 2 as the checkered flag is out. He's going to have something to do for this final lap. Raid is currently in the pit, so he can't improve on his lap. So that means the door is open for Lyle to try something else. As is Smith, but I believe he's also not moving too far behind. That's a very slow and also an off track for Adam Lyle in Sector 2. So I don't think that is going to be something that he can recover from. Johnson's gone back to the pits. Ellis did cross the line. I believe Ellis is now in 8th place. Doesn't really help too much. Smith here in the final corners as well. And Hutton has 7th place now. And going back to the pits, Adam Lyle and Smith as well going back in. And that should be our qualifying over, with Matt Raid being on pole position, Adam Lyle alongside him on that front row, and Ollie Smith getting that 3rd place. I'm wondering, was Ellis over the line before the time went out? I'm unsure. I don't think he was, but it's a very big off track as he's doing a little bit of cruising. Yeah, the checkered flag went out a minute and a half ago, and his lap is only 55 seconds going, so that means that this lap will definitely not count. As he also is not quicker in that Sector 1. But we'll watch him finish his lap. So round 2. Still anything can happen. We're 6 rounds in, or 6 rounds total championship. 2 rounds in now. We've got William Johnson in 1st place. That's not 1st place. William Johnson 1st place in the standings. Matt Raid in 1st place in the qualifying, and I believe he has just joined us. Matt, welcome in.
Hello, nice to meet you, nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too, mate. Pole position. What was that final lap, mate? You're going about half a tenth quicker than Adam.
Yep. Adam just did a personal best, so I thought, okay, that's a personal attack on me. He's just pushed my buttons, so I'll just put everything out of the bag that I've got. So
the gaps between you two was very, very tiny. It was about, I think I was counting in hundreds, and
still
again, it's only 500s, or what is it, 700s between you two. It's super close. I mean, the rest is quite far behind. Well, I say quite far. It's still not still close, about 6/10, so it is still kind of close. But you two are doing amazingly to get it this close together. What's the secret?
A lot of practice. I've probably put up about 200 laps into this circuit the last week, so
And
it's
Adam,
probably
what is
just that.
have you also practiced for 200 laps, or was yours 198, just a little bit short of what Raid can do?
No, not even 100 laps tonight. I like the track, so it was just pretty much setting the car up all week with the correct ballast on it.
And Ollie Smith currently sat in third place on the grid. What's going to be your strategy to overtake these two lads into turn one?
I don't think that's going to be my strategy. I think my strategy is going to be to survive and not gain any penalties for going too wild on track limits.
Well, that's of course a very, very good one. No one wants to get penalties on track limits. What are we thinking? Turn one, hairpin, easy to overtake, and after that, what's our next opportunity?
There isn't really.
Yeah.
Not an easy track to overtake.
I was looking at the track and I'm like, turn one, big braking zone, 160-degree turn, should be fairly doable. Then we have a slow speed section, which is also doable if you have the grip. And then it's quite quick still. There's a chicane where you can send it somewhere in sector 2. And after that, pretty much done for. So what's going to be the strategy? Gain track position and hold it from there? Or can we still expect some overtakes in the midfield?
You could definitely expect some overtakes, especially as the lads' tyres wear out. With different ballast, there will be different wear out on tyres, so I'm pretty sure there will be some battles even later on.
Yeah, because Adam, you're currently on, I believe that's 45 kilograms of ballast compared to. Yeah, that's quite a bit of ballast. I don't think the other guys have as much as you. Well, I think the highest is a 65 for Ollie Hutton, but 45 kilograms. That's a lot of ballast. How are you gonna take that going into the race?
To be honest, I know they all say you can't win it first corner, but I think a lot of this is it's going to be who gets the drive down to the first corner, and then if I can pip it, hopefully it's just a case of hold him off once my tyres have all gone.
So your strategy is you're starting on the right hand side, if I'm correct.
I am, yes. So
yeah, your strategy is just send it into turn one, see if you can get past, and then just park it.
Yeah, we have had a little chat about it anyway beforehand the other day, and if we're not going to hold each other up, I don't think.
I'm not trying to let you guys reveal your secrets, of course, but I mean, if the top three is here and they're all speaking freely about what they're going to do or what they're trying to do, I mean, it's going to introduce some sort of more competition aspect, right? So, you've heard now, Adam, they're trying to send it onto turn one. Matt, what's going to be your strategy to keep him behind?
First and foremost is to nail the start, which I know for sure I'm not confident in starting these cars. And after that, we'll see how it goes. Maybe just park it. Maybe just see if I can hang in first. If Adam is noticeably quicker, I don't want to fight him too hard because that's just going to wreck both of our tyres up for a long race.
That is true. That's true. Well, I mean, if you guys are, you guys don't want to hold each other up. You guys are gonna try and go. But in the end, there has to be one winner, right? So what happens if you two are separated by, let's say, a 10th on the final lap, and you don't want to hold each other up? Are you still gonna wait for, like, let's say, Adam, let's say you don't make it past Matt in turn one, and there's 1/10 between you two in the final turn or the final few turns. Are you still gonna stick it behind, or are you gonna send it?
If it's last lap, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your tyres are
every race
at the
goes
end
forward
anyway.
at that point.
Yeah, then it's completely different strategy. It's every man for themselves then, isn't it? Just send it wherever you can.
Well, I think there's one man here out of the three that hopes that will end in disaster. That's Smith here behind. From third place, still a very, very good starting position. How do you look at these two trying to not hold each other up?
Of what I'm expecting, they're going to disappear into the distance. I think my only possible chance is I know the Civic goes well off the line. So if I can sneak in between them or sneak in front of them by the first corner, then maybe I can mix things up a bit. And, maybe they'll get dive bombed by somebody behind and I'll make up a place in the end.
Well, let's not hope for some collisions, but let's do some, guys. Have a good race here. So, with 1 minute to go, I'll let you guys go to the car and get ready for the race. So good luck, all three of you, and keep it safe into T1, right?
Cheers. Thank you.
Well done, Matt.
All right, with these driver interviews out of the way, we can look at the grid. The numbers don't matter. That's a little bit of a glitch in the timing tower, but we have Matt Raid currently on pole position. Adam Lyle poised right next to him on the front row. Ollie Smith in third with Rick Corver behind. And that is where we're looking at. 30 seconds remain. Only one of them can get the first place out of turn one. But will it be Matt Raid? Will it be Adam Lyle? Will it be Ollie Smith? Or will it be someone else entirely? That is going to be the question. That's going to get answered in, I believe, to be about 10 seconds time. So, without further ado, you should see the lights come on. And we have the cars and ready to go. The lights were not there because they were off already. Matt Raid with a very good start. Adam Lyle trying to move alongside. Smith said he was very strong off the line, but I don't think he's very strong off the line. It is Matt currently around the outside with Adam trying to put him on the inside, but Corvus is there to attack Smith as he breaks very late. Rene Young trying to join in on this, and Adam Lyle takes the inside line as he was alongside and does get ahead of Matt Raid. Further behind, Ollie just losing out on the position to Corvers. The inside still open, and Smith trying to make his way past his Raid, also looking towards the outside of Lyle. Smith now does get next to Corvers and does get tapped to the rear a little bit. Slows down, moves down the order, gets overtaken by Rene Young, by Johnson, by Hutton, by Noah Bats, by Behrman, who does lose a little bit. Johnson losing the rear there. Some more taps there. So Ollie Hutton loses a space. And that's Young moving towards the middle of the track where Noah Bats was still standing there. Ollie Hutton tapping to the rear. There's a car off there all the way in the back. Unsure who that is, but we'll see that in just a moment's time. But for now, all that's important, that appears to be Wehrman. Well, that is important that Adam Lyle has taken the start and has taken P1 away from Matt Raid in the first turn. So that is it. The top three currently Lyle, Raid, Corvers, as Ollie Smith has dropped down to 8th place. The Civic, pretty strong off the line, not exceptionally strong, but did lose out quite hard there later on. And Adam Lyle back to his form. Of course, got the P1 in race 1 last time out at Vallelunga. He's currently holding on to that first place. Matt Raid just a tiny bit behind. And the gap should be about a second and a bit. Still able to maybe suck off some of that slipstream from Lyle. I don't think he's going to get close enough to do anything out of that. Lap 1 completed for our lovely drivers here. And Adam Lyle still leading. A bit further back, we have some more swaps for position. Smith fighting now for 7th place with Hutton as he's chasing down Johnson. No abouts here. Behind Young, ahead of Johnson with the fastest lap in the name of Johnson. He's gonna try and see if he can get past Noah Bats. Here we have Hutton and Smith in the background. They're still fighting for that position. Hutton getting the better of it now. See them hopefully not enter side by side going through this. No, that's not side by side. That is Ollie a little bit, well, Ollie and Ollie. That's Hutton a little bit too deep into the corner. Has to get back and break out. And Smith is able to get past the 999 machine going into the chicane. And Bailey and Ellis fighting just a little bit further back. And we are missing quite a few drivers. So there's only 13 cars on the track at the moment. That does not mean we can't get very, very good racing. As we're seeing already, Hutton now has to follow Smith through in this section. He just talked with the drivers and they said it's very, very difficult to overtake. This corner that we're approaching now should be still a very good opportunity. There's Bailey, makes use of that onto the rear of Ellis. Doesn't get there quite yet. Should be able to close that gap or at least put some pressure on. As Ben ARS is also joining in on this very late on the brakes to close the gap. Doesn't get it completely. It is getting quite close here to this fight. And we have Adam Lyle setting the fastest lap. Matt Raid not able to keep up. And Corvus can't either. Have about 2.5 seconds there between Raid and Corvus. Raid just over a second behind. So Wehrmann gets past the Dixon for 12th place after having a little scrap earlier on. And there he is in the blue machine. Number 28 car currently in 12th position, trying to regain some of that time that he lost earlier on. Corvus here, lonely race from the looks of it. Was already pulling away from Young and not catching Raid. 2.5 seconds ahead, 3 seconds behind. Being in third place, getting a podium like that is happy times. But I mean, you wanna have some racing, right? You wanna have some effort to put into your race, and he's currently not having any of that. But that doesn't mean that we don't have anything at all, because his other drivers, his other track mates are making up for that. This is a three-way fight here, four-way fight. You see Young leading Bats, Johnson, and Smith. Currently for the fight for 4th place. That's going to allow Corvus to slip away even further, solidifying that 3rd place a bit more. Bats not looking for anything just yet. Neither does Johnson or Smith or Hutton. No one's looking for anything really. They're just making their way through that 3rd sector as Young goes a tiny bit wide. And either it's wide or it's proper track usage, as we see from Bats here. But first the double apex of the final corner. Young immediately going towards the side to break the slipstream. Bats not worried. They're still behind each other. It's now a 5-way fight. Young, Bats, Johnson, Smith, and Hutton. If they go on like this, Ellis might join too in the background. There he is. The blue and the yellow machine, teammate of Johnson. Oh, that's a bit deep for Young. Bats opportunistic on the inside. Sees an opening and takes it. The inside still almost there for Young, and Bats freely going through. Johnson now is very close to the front of Smith. It's not really a place to overtake here. But if the driver ahead makes a mistake, you can easily get past here from the view of Smith. Hard brake onto the right-hander. That is Johnson going over the grass a tiny bit to maybe snatch away a position from Young, who stays ahead going into the chicane. And lots of curb taken in this chicane. Johnson not able to get that position, but is still trailing very closely behind Young, who is getting tapped in the rear by Johnson. Gets rolled back onto the track. Hits, I believe that was Smith still. Or Ellis maybe. Johnson has dropped down a tiny bit. Just back behind Ellis. Currently looking at Ollie Hutton right behind Ollie Smith. So we're back with this fight. Small look there on the inside for Hutton. Something he can do really. It's still pretty mid-speed corner section. And Hutton trailing now. The fight for 4th place being broken up. There we have Baas just disappearing. Now Smith and Hutton. So we look back at Ellis, about a second gap towards 7th place. And Johnson just regrouping and sitting in 8th place. Fastest lap just done by Adam Lyle, 151.999. That is an interesting number that you don't see that often in racing. Just into the 51s. That's what we've seen from these drivers in qualifying. Yeah, 51.7, I believe. That's what we got for pole position. So Adam Lyle is really putting the pressure down. Or the right foot, I should say, because he's speeding up quite significantly. Matt Raid is answering. And his lap times are quite similar. That's pulling them away from 3rd place. Again, Corvus 5 seconds ahead, 5 seconds behind. So he's basically in a 10-second lull where there's no one else on track. You can see that on the track map. If you look at the top right-hand side of your picture, there's 2 cars currently leading the race going on to the final 3 corners of the track. And then there's one singular dot that's in the middle of quite a long space. That is Rick Corvus And that is the man that is currently just cruising around this track and has been since lap 2. And whether to be happy or sad, I'm unsure. I'm pretty sure we'll ask him after the race, as he's holding 3rd place, so eligible for that podium. And we'll be interviewing all the podium sitters, of course. And currently, it looks like the podium might change somewhere, as Raid is closing in on Lyle. Mad Raid currently not in possession of ballast. Adam Lyle in possession of 45 kilograms of ballast. What we've heard is that it's mostly not even the performance that gets affected too much, but it's mostly the tire wear. So as you go on through the race, your tires will start to degrade, you start to lose some grip. You have to be a bit more careful with where you're driving. And one of those drivers that has to be careful is Adam Lyle. He has quite a significant amount of ballast on this car, partially due to the advantage that the Elantra has, and partially because of his standing as in 4th place. And towards the end of the race, that will take more effect. So we'll be back with them in the closing stages to see if Raid can get past Lyle. You have Young currently in 12th place, dropped all the way back. Unsure what happened exactly. They're currently in 3-way fight for 10th place. It's Bailey currently ahead of Wehrmann, who tries to send it in the chicane, loses a bit of time. That allows Young to catch up and look for an opportunity inside, being looked at, door being opened. But the move not being sent, Wehrmann still ahead of Young. And Bailey pulling away. That's a look there from Young. In the gold and silver car. But Wehrmann does hold on pretty neatly to this position in 11th. Now the door is open towards the 2nd to last or 3rd to last corner. That's a very deep send by Young. If he can get it stopped in time, he can get the position, but he doesn't. So he slots in behind Wehrmann. And Rene Young has just received a drive-through, it appears, for cutting the track. So he'll have to sit that one out at some point in this race. So that means that all the chasing that he's doing now is not really doing too much. And Wehrmann can happily hold on to that 11th place and maybe sneak away for 10th. That's Bailey over there doing a better job at braking than Wehrmann is doing, because he appeared to be a tiny bit deep into turn number 1. I'm allowed to call this turn 3 because there's a small kink after turn 1. That is turn 2. And this is then turn 4. They're looking to get ready for this fast left-hander. We haven't seen any action in this part of the track just yet. We've seen it in these corners that are coming up now. But I still want to see if some drivers can make their way through that fast corner a bit more side by side. So currently looking back from Bailey at Wehrmann and Young. Wehrmann gaining some time. And might be able to do something in the next lap. The driver said in the post-qualifying interview that it's very difficult to get an overtake done after turn number 1. That's something that we have to be careful of. We do see some fighting though. This is Ellis and Hutton that are swapping. No, this is Smith right behind Bats in the final stages of the lap. Bats on the inside as we see Hutton drop down the order with Johnson getting something done, but Smith behind Bats out of the final corner. And there we have the 4-car fight. That's Ellis, Johnson, Hutton, and Ben ARS right behind him. Currently Bats in 4th place. A small look from Smith, who decides to keep it there. And Bats, very early turn in, does keep the position. And further behind, no swapping either. As there they are, Ellis, Johnson, Hutton, and Ben ARS. Going through the motions of the track, a bit wide there for Johnson. Is that going to open up a door? It's not enough yet for Hutton to move his nose into the right direction. Now confirmation that Rene Young has driven the drive-through. And he is out on track in 13th place, which relieves Bailey and Wehrmann, who have swapped positions. So it's currently Wehrmann in 10th and Bailey in 11th. Oh, that's a lot of curb there for Bats. Is that going to slow him down through this section? No matter. If it does, it doesn't matter too much. Ellison Johnson and Hutton are still at it. They're dropping back a little bit from this fight. Have about 4 seconds now towards that duo up in front. Doesn't look like they're battling too much. Then it might just be pace. So we do have a fight here. Bats going defensive. Smith not able to make anything happen. Bats back again for the inside line as Bailey receives a drive-through penalty. And Smith holding on to the outside line, trying to see if he can sniff it again for that final turn. Bats closing the door slightly, not completely. Does put Smith on the back foot here for the final corner and the straight, and Bats holding on to the speed. And then now has to go defensive into turn 1. Goes towards the inside of the track. Doesn't close the door completely. Opening it up for Smith, who can brake late and get the position if he parks it properly. That's Bats. Taps towards the rear of Smith. That is a clean overtake by Smith, getting past for 4th place. As Hutton has just lost the position to Ben. Well, Bats not happy about losing this place. Instantly starts to fight back, and this is what I wanted to see. Side-by-side action through turn 4. The fast right-hander going up to the fast left-hander. There's one driver that can go through, and it can't be two at the same time. Smith now having to lag behind because Bats was just a little bit further up. Does get over the edge of the track. That might offer him a drive-through penalty in turn. They did mention that drive-throughs were going to be significant on this track. We've seen 2 of them already. One from Young and then Bailey now as well, or leaving Wehrmann completely. The Bat going a tiny bit wide again. Might count for some off tracks. So we are looking to have them keep their position a bit wide as well for Johnson. The second out of these 2 blue and yellow cars. It's Ellis in 6th and Johnson in 7th. Ellis there a little bit deep out, still holding on to that 4th place, and it's gone from a 2 and 4 to more of a 4 and 2 as Ellis and Johnson are keeping up with Smith. But Ben is a little bit further back. No, that's Ollie. That's a little bit further back. Ollie Hutton. So Bats goes completely defensive this time around with Smith right behind him. Ellis and Johnson also battling in between, but not going side by side just yet. Ellis does look towards the inside where Smith has left the door open. That's Ellis a little bit too deep. That's Johnson on through. Bats still ahead, and the blue and yellow cars swap. Ollie Smith trying to make his way back through Noah Bats. Doesn't get it at all. Bats is putting up quite a show here of defense. 7 minutes remaining. He has to. So it's going to be about 4 more laps, I assume. Maybe 5 if we're lucky. Smith now pressing for opportunities, because there's plenty of cars behind him that also want to get past and have a go to try and pass this notoriously difficult to overtake Elantra. Of course, there's a Civic, there's a Cupra, and there's another Cupra, and then it's an RS3. Ollie Hutton in the Elantra with a lot of ballast is feeling this pain. 2.5 seconds, almost 3 seconds behind Ben now. Behind this fight, that's a slide there. Very small for Johnson. Loses a tiny bit of time there, but does keep up with the cars ahead. And Johnson also with that ballast is going to be feeling this. He's got about 50 kilograms extra in his car. And this is the point where you can start to feel that affect your driving. So he's not driving the Elantra, but because he is in first place in the championship, he will also get that ballast to his name. Lyle, the gap behind 1.5 seconds. Isn't anything too great to talk to write home about, but he's still holding that. Matt Raid able to keep in. And Smith was right. The top two pulling away with it quite well. And Rick Corver's just in third place, being very happy to sit there, I think. 9 seconds ahead, 14 seconds behind him. He's on his lonesome all again. Well, still, I should say. He never really got close to anyone as he's Adam Lyle's teammate from the looks of the liveries. And that's Ellis and Ben. Ben just not able to catch Ellis or keep the position. Smith looking on Noah. But still holds on to fourth, but Smith sniffing for that position. He's getting closer and closer, but not able to get that overtake done. And the two Cupras taking a lot of that curb in the chicane. And Johnson is joining this too as Smith goes a tiny bit wide. That opens it up for Johnson. Doesn't go for it completely. That slows him down a tiny bit, though. That's Ellis. Takes advantage of that, and that's Ben as well. On the inside of Johnson is going to make his move, pushing him a bit wide. Ellis doesn't get the second one. Johnson holds on to his place in 7th, with Ben not able to complete the overtake. And there still looks there. Johnson defending, Ben a real stalker, waiting in the shadows, trying to see when he can jump on the rear of Johnson. The fights in front have to be settled first. The bat is able to go completely loose from these guys as they're fighting. Smith holding on, defending from Ellis. Johnson very aggressively sends it into turn 1, taps the side of Ellis, loses control of the car momentarily, allowing Ben to go on through and grabbing the opportunity at hand. Ben moves up to 7th place. Now he's got to be careful because Johnson, we saw him make that move, well, try to make the move very aggressively. It's now just going to be a problem whether he's going to do that again or not. And Ben a little bit loose on the rear. Turn 5, nothing to laugh at. Johnson isn't either. He's very, very close to the rear of Ben. Just trailing Ellis by a few thousandths of a second, I would say. They're all preparing for that final the final few corners of the track. They will have, I believe, 2 more laps in them. And Ben a tiny bit wide there. Just to watch out for the inside, because there is Johnson. Great opportunity, great try. Doesn't get it just yet. Forces Ben to be defensive, losing him a bit of time compared to Ellis. So it might just be helping his teammate. The door's still open into the final turn. Johnson thinks about it, doesn't go for it. Now it's onto the back straight. Ben has to get a good exit here, which I don't think he has. And Johnson is completely alongside. Let's see if this stays the same going to turn 1. We saw Johnson be very aggressive on here last lap. And Ben just has to do a little trick that's called the up and under. Doesn't. Goes too wide. Is now following down Johnson, who has completed the move for 7th. So Johnson, after losing that spot on the previous lap, has regained it. And we will see 2 more laps after this. Adam Lyle is currently quite far ahead on the track. They have already gone through the chicane. There he is. That's Adam Lyle. Final part of Sector 2. Currently 1:17 along, which means he will cross the line within the time. That gives us 1 lap and then +1. Matt Raid. Pretty happy, I think, that he's got 2 more laps to chase down Lyle to see if he can do anything still. Bats now back again in the grasp of Smith. So this fighting behind has given him some room to think and catch Bats ahead. Has to go defensive out of the exit of Sector 2. Smith completely ahead going into the turn. Just have to get the car stopped in time, does so, and gets the overtake done. That's up to 4th place for Smith, now 16 seconds ahead. Not able to catch that, so all he can do is sit and wait and defend. That's all he has to do. Bats is not going to let that slide, though. So try his hardest to get past again on the turn 1. And Ben losing a tiny bit. As you can see the gap increasing. Smith holds on to 4th. Oh, that is bad. Opportunistic, sees the inside being open, tries to chase down. Doesn't get it just yet. The inside door open again. Bad sending it in, gets it stopped on time. But does he hold on to the position going out of turn 4? Doesn't look like he has it, but Smith still hot on his tail, trying to retake this again. It's back and forth between these two. Bad's getting the better out of it in the end. Going into sector 2, that's a tap to the rear. It's going to slow them both down, allowing Ellis to catch back up. Johnson's there too. Bad's not going to be happy about this. But the number 44 car still ahead of this pack going into the chicane. And this is where the overtakes will get messy. They will get dirty because we don't have that much time. I believe we've got one more lap coming up to the line for Adam Lyle, who's currently in the final corner of the race. And these drivers will have one more lap, one more opportunity across the line to see what is going to happen. Adam Lyle now starting that final lap across the line and has activated the white flag for everyone. One more lap to see what happens as we have Smith taking away the position again into the final sector of the track. Does keep the inside locked up. And Bad's no way to get through. Holds on to P4. Bad's in 5th. Ellis looking aggressively behind in 6th. Johnson and Ben ARS all in this train. Hutton is slowly joining in, creeping past. But it's not going to be enough. Into turn 1 they go as a string of cars. No looks being given. No, 1 look being given. 2 looks being given. That is Johnson again on Ellis. And Bart having a look on Smith. But the door not open enough to do anything just yet. Johnson being very, very aggressive. And some contact between the two teammates results in Ben able to join in on this fight. He's now looking for an opportunity, sniffing the rear of Johnson's car. The number 367 is still holding on to 7th. And Hutton has joined it. It's now a 6-car fight for 4th place. It's Smith in 4th, Bats in 5th, Ellis in 6th, Johnson in 7th, Ben ARS in 8th, Ollie Hutton in 9th. If they finish like this, it will be one good show for the next race. They're so close in pace. Everyone is doing similar laps again and again and again. As Adam Lyle takes the win in race number 1 and will be starting in P10 for race number 2. Matt Raid gets 2nd place and will be down in 9th. Again ahead of Lyle, who will try to take away that position again like he did in race number 1. Rick Corvers in 3rd place. That's Bats deep into the final few corners. Doesn't allow Ellis through though. But that solidifies 4th place for Ollie Smith. Noah Bats has 5th place now. If he can keep it on the track, he can. And ooh, he goes over the grass actually. As Jacob Ellis has got a drive-through for cutting apparently. In 6th place, Johnson in 7th, Ben ARS in 8th, Ollie Hutton in 9th, and Wehrman in 10th will be starting on pole position. And it does look like Ellis will be receiving that penalty. And unsure how that will shake up the standings. We'll have to see that after the event. Young in 11th place. Bailey will get 12th, and Dixon is right behind in 13th. They are still fighting for that 12th place, as Young just solidifies his 11th. Bailey just ahead. Will hold on to 12th. So this fight from Smith down to Hutton is 4th to 9th. That will be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th for Smith there in the end. And that's going to be one insane round start for race number 2. As we do have our podium sitters with us for a quick interview. Adam Lyle here, starting from 2nd. You did what you wanted to do. Gain position 1 in turn 1 and then lead the rest of the race. Was that confidence? Was that something holding back the pace, or was that maximum send for that first round?
Yeah, it's just, I knew I had to get the launch. Obviously, Matt the pace as well. So I just use that to highlight that and hopefully try and pull away, which I got to about a second. Sorry, I was trying not to crash them. I got to about a second away from him, and then we were just setting sort of even laps. So I was comfortable then.
Yeah, Matt, looking at that second, was there any place you could close that second, or was it consistently that complete second of a gap?
Annoyingly so. I don't think I could have closed that gap at any point in the race. Whenever I pushed harder, so did Adam. So I think we're sort of evenly matched despite his balance and his extra 40 kilos. So.
And you guys are going to be starting in 9th and 10th for that second race. Again, in the order that you started this race. Will it be a repeat, or have you learned something from that start, Matt?
I am still not comfortable starting these cars. This was probably the first time I actually had to actually put my foot down and try and stand still start these cars. Something I need to definitely practice. Adam had a much better start and ran into T1, and then after that it was pretty much game over.
So now it's just the hope that something happens ahead and that Lyle gets caught up. Something that didn't happen ahead. Rick Corvers, you were in about at some point you were 5 seconds behind and 5 seconds ahead, and then that came to 10 seconds behind and 10 seconds ahead. Have you even seen a different car in that second half of that race?
I have not seen anybody.
I assume so.
I literally went driving my own race after I would say it was a fair overtake on Ollie. It was a tight squeeze, but I guess stuff happens. But in the end, I tried to run the same lap times, and it worked out in the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, very comfortable P3 in that sense. You're going to be starting in 8th place. Don't think you're going to be seeing that much comfort again. You're going to have 2 very fast drivers behind you and a pack of cars that's been fighting. I don't think I have to tell you guys, but from 4th down to 8th was one big fight. So we're going to see from 7th down to 3rd, I think. It's going to be one big fight once again. So that's the pack that you have to overtake. Any strategy or anything that you've learned in this first race that can help you maybe? Because, I mean, you had all the time in the world, of course, to try new things.
Well, I would say I'm happy that Adam is there with me, especially as my teammate. We could work together in a way. So I'm happy about that. And apart from the rest, I just see. I'm just going to do my best and see the opportunities that the race is going to give me.
And we did see a double podium last week for Johnson, and well, for you guys, I really hope that is going to happen again, another double podium. Adam, I believe last week was it that you had a very strong race 1 result, but then a very bad race 2 result, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I did. I got involved in a bit of a collision with someone that's not here tonight. So hopefully tonight's a bit different and I can go through. But I'm hoping just to go through with Matt and Rick.
I'm hoping you cut us through, like cut us away for the traffic. I'll just follow you on, mate.
So from the start, Matt, it's going to be not looking to your wait. You're starting in a 9th place. That's going to be not looking to your right to see where Adam is, and you're just going to let him through and then just follow in his footsteps.
I mean, the key point is to get to the front of the pack as soon as possible. as we know this track is incredibly difficult to overtake. So hopefully either follow Adam or or lead us through the traffic. We'll see how it goes then.
Well, let's hope for you guys' sake that it's not going to be pile up at the start. I would say good luck to the three of you. First off, congrats on the podium for race 1, and let's see if you guys can make it again for race number 2. So with the interviews out of the way, we're looking at the grid. Currently, Weerman in first place, pole position. Ollie Hutton second, and then there's that big gaggle of cars of Ben ARS in third, Johnson, Ellis looking further back. We have Noah Batts, Ollie Smith, and that's going to be that big fight. Then we have Rick Corvus, Matt Reid, and Adam Lyle, our podium positions from race number 1, followed by Renee Young and Andrew Bailey on the final row of our grid. We've got about 2.5 minutes remaining until we start our second race. I want to throw in a prediction, but I'm kind of scared because there was a lot of fighting there in the race. We didn't see too many fights for the first place. That was pretty much solidified after the first turn. Adam Lyle able to take away the first place from Matt Reid, who did not have too great of a start. And gap about a second, like they said, just held on to that for as long as they could. Dixon currently still in the pit lane, so last place in that race 1. I believe he might have just gone onto the grid. Should be starting all the way in last place. If we're panning over to the grid, we might see him join up to the rear there. But in the mid-pack, there was a lot of fighting, and now they're in the reverse order. Like I said before as well, these guys are incredibly close on pace. So I'm quite sure that from, I think, 3rd place down to should be 7th is all going to be on similar pace. That's all going to be a fight that I'm very, very happy to watch for this second event. So as a reminder, our grid has been set for the race. That is a top 10 reverse from race number 1. That's what you're seeing right now on the screen. Weerman finished in 10th, so he gets pole position for race number 2. Next to him, Ollie Hutton, who's involved in some incident or another, and has been put down to 2nd place after he finished 9th in race number 1. Hutton, currently 2nd in the standings, would like to convert this to something more because Johnson finished just a few places ahead of him. And we would like to have a little chat because Johnson is currently 1st place in the standing. But with Lyle having that win in race number 1, he might just get closer to that top position on the leaderboard. Cars are getting ready. See them, we hear them rev up, waiting for the lights to go out. There it is, 5 lights. And we are away for race number 2, where we have Weerman with a kind of a strong start. Ollie Hutton, even stronger, is looking to go up the inside left-hand side of your picture. You have Ollie Hutton on the front row. He is moving very fast. It's the 3 wide, 4 wide further behind Adam Lyle and Rick Corvus trying to carve their way through. Never mind that. That's the whole middle pack that they're going through. Ollie Hutton gaining P1 as Ben ARS going on through. The pair of Ellis and Johnson now being attacked by one of the Phoenix cars. That appears to be Rick Corvus, who is on his way through the grid. Adam Lyle slotted in a little bit further behind. There's Noah Batts out leading Smith and Adam Lyle, with Bailey and Matt Reid. Matt Reid's still behind. He has done what he said he'd do. He'd stick behind Adam Lyle to see what is going to happen out in front, and he's not sticking with that. Noah Batts is not sticking with that at all. Going towards the inside of Rick Corvus. It's the same pair of liveries between Batts, Corvus, and Reid and Lyle. Noah Batts still looking towards the inside there, as that is one of the 2 blue and yellow cars. Jacob Ellis getting overtaken by Corvus. Gets passed through the chicane. That's an interesting overtaking opportunity, as that's Lyle through as well, trying to get a position off of Smith, and does so pretty neatly. And that's just the difference in pace between these guys. It's absolutely insane. Matt Raid as well, getting that overtake done, trying to move up the order as fast as they can. Ollie Hutton currently in first place. Rick Corvus in fifth, tries to make that fourth place. Doesn't get it completely though, from the looks of it. And we are looking at Ollie Smith, who's down in 10th place. Not really a happy start for him, but the back still close together. Hutton only half a second ahead. Everyone is basically in grasp. Corvus now behind Ben RS, trying to make something happen as well up the order. We do have Lyle and Raid in 8th and 9th, have only gained 1 spot total. There'll be 2 for Lyle and 0 for Raid. It will be close fighting to see who can get on top of the order there. Hutton leaves the door open, and Wehrmann thinking he can do something there. That's very wide for Corvus, who's losing the position to Ellis momentarily. Will have to stay behind or look for an opening. So Wehrmann goes defensive. Ollie Smith gets a drive-through for cutting already. That's very quick after 1 lap. Now looking towards the inside of Young, does push him wide, taps him, and reversed onto the track. I'm wondering if that's going to be game over for him. As he is moving again, so he will still take to the track. Wehrmann having to defend from Johnson, who is pretty rapid. He's going to be trying to get past here in similar fashion that we saw Rick Corvus do on the previous lap. Doesn't get ahead just yet, but will have to stay behind Ellis and Raid now fighting as well. Raid's gone past Lyle. He's dropped down to 9th. They're fighting once again for this position. Raid being pushed wide. And they said it's difficult to overtake. They're showing it quite well now, that it is possible to overtake. They're losing each other time. The one thing that they didn't want to do in race number 1, but they are doing this in race number 2, which is very interesting. That's Raid a little bit deep. Adam Lyle on the inside doesn't get it past, but only alongside, giving the position to Raid. Wehrmann and Johnson now fighting for this second place, allowing Hutton to go right on through. Wehrmann now on the outside of the final turn. Johnson with the fastest lap in hand gets to go right on through and gain that second position away from Wehrmann. Fastest lap now in the hands of Ollie Hutton, who's still in first place. 5 further behind, and also in front, that's Wehrmann trying to send it again on Johnson, as Lyle puts now 1 position between him and Bailey as he forces him wide. That blocks him all the way for Young to get on through. Wehrmann ahead of Johnson. You see Corvus and Ben fighting. Ollie Smith having his drive-through taken. Corvus ahead of Ben, now currently in 4th place. Taking quick work of these cars. Now it's 2 ahead of him that are also fighting. They will be looking to hold on to these places, because 2nd and 3rd is a very good position for Johnson as well to have. He's just lost some points to Lyle, who's now in 9th, so he'd like to keep these places as they go through the chicane, very closely followed by the rest of the pack. Wehrmann leaving Ollie Hutton to fend for himself, or well, to drive for himself, because he doesn't have to fend off anything. Hutton now over 2 seconds ahead of the pack behind. Wehrmann, Johnson now fighting very closely. Corvus right behind. Benares, Noah Batts, Jacob Ellis, Matt Raid, they're all within seconds of each other. As Johnson now gets past Wehrmann, Corvus instantly looking at 1, almost 2, as the inside is opened by Johnson, but Corvus not able to go on through just yet. We'll have to look for it again. Taps to the rear of Johnson, who goes sideways momentarily, catches the car again as Rick Corvus rejoins the track, and Wehrmann now in 2nd place with Johnson behind. Benares has gained the position, Batts has gained the position, and Ellis took the game 1 as well with the Raid right behind him, and Lyle. And Corvus, after gaining so many positions, is now back towards the rear, where Matt Raid is fighting with Ellis, and it's the 3 of them almost united again. As Johnson looking towards the inside of Wehrmann once again, moving towards the apex is the number 2 position. That's Wehrmann still holding on to it. Further side-by-side battles. That is Noah Batts, Rick Corvus, and Matt Raid. Matt Raid all the way on the inside. Corvus gets tapped to the rear by Noah Batts. And that's Adam Lyle sending it on through. This is a chaos currently in the first sector of the track. Noah Batts following followed by Matt Raid. Now following Matt Raid, as he's slightly ahead going into the fast left-hander. That should be positioned for Matt Raid. There's no way Noah can hold on to that. He does go a little bit wide, trying to defend from Lyle. Goes the long way around to keep that position going. Still a tiny bit side by side, trying to see if Noah can send it into the chicane. Tries it very hard, pushes Lyle wide, who takes the shortcut and gets ahead of Noah Batts on the track. Batts not going to be happy with the fact that Lyle just cut off so much of the track and gained such an advantage. But he did get pushed wide very hard by Batts, who tried for an overtake that he really should not have done. So there's the question, and the question will be answered by the stewards. Wehrman on the inside of Johnson, trying to go defensive for the final stage of this race. And Ben RS now looking on the inside. Johnson keeping the door open, closing it very late, trying to duck in behind Wehrman. It's now Ben RS that is under fire from Raid and Lyle. And instead of Corvers being in the front of the pack, it's Raid and Lyle that are making their way through. Ollie Hutton now 4 seconds clear, leading the race quite neatly. You can see him disappear just now. Wehrman and Johnson, that's Ben going towards the inside, trying to see what he can do. Goes a little bit deep there on the brakes. That opens it up for Lyle, who gets past Raid momentarily, but Raid with, I believe, to be the better exit and the inside line for the next turn. Does actually not hold on to the inside, tries to swap around and get past Ben. That does open it up for Lyle. Makes a very neat move towards the inside and gets past Raid for 5th place. And again, it's these drivers that are making this race so interesting in the middle of the pack. The lead is never really a question anymore. It's Hutton in first, and then it becomes a question of what is going to happen. That's Lyle very close to Ben. I think there's tiny slivers of the diffuser that are being touched by the front wing of Adam Lyle's car, or at least the grille. I feel like you can smell the coolant of Ben's car as he's pushing it quite hard around this track. Small slides here and there. Lyle chasing closely, sensing there's an opportunity at hand soon. There it is, door being opened. Lyle sending it in a place where no one really sends it. Still has to stick behind. That's Ben a little bit wide. Raid instantly on the offensive as well. Wehrman and Johnson are fighting. Lyle gets tapped to the side. That's Raid and Lyle colliding. Lyle luckily holding it onto it as best he can. Did have a very big hit with the wall. That's going to damage his car. You can see the hood. They're being tapped in. That's not good. Definitely not good. Noah Batts. It might have been with Noah Batts actually. He was in 4th place. Raid is down to 8th. Or Raid had such a big loss from that he's all the way down. Young now up to 7th place. Doing a good job of holding that. Noah Batts clear of the fight. Ben has the inside open for Lyle to go on through. Young trying to sneak in and overtake as well, trying to follow the number 1 car through. Don't think he gets that completely, as Ben will have the inside line for turn number 3. A bit deep from Young. Does lose him that place or that opportunity of an overtake. As we are approaching the halfway mark of this second race. Fastest lap still in the hands of Noah Batts. Ben RS looking at Lyle. He's gone a tiny bit deep into turn number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I can still count. Or it's 6, depending on how much of the kings you wanna count. It might actually be 6. As I'm very bad at counting and I don't have a track map with me. I don't have time to look at that either because the action is constant. Ellis right behind Bailey now. He's got Raid right behind him. Raid starting in 9th, now down to 10th place. And Ellis looking at the rear of Bailey. As Johnson and Wehrman are still fighting for that second place, losing each other time. Bailey on the inside, Ellis at the outside. Matt Raid also looking for an opportunity to get past and rejoin his podium sitters from last race. Does have Corvus right behind him joining in on this fight. This is Wehrmann. Lost the position to Johnson. Now Bats and Lyle on through as well. I believe his luck might have run out. He's currently down to 5th place with the fastest lap in the hands of Adam Lyle. He's now looking towards the inside of Noah Bats. It's Wehrmann all the way off. Does a good job of keeping the car out of the barrier, but that is Ben through. That is Young through. Johnson a tiny bit deep. Doesn't matter. Lyle and Bouts now side by side. Going through turn 4. On the uphill to 5. Lyle not able to get the overtake done. Does have to care about Ben right behind him. This three-way fight is for the podium. Lyle going towards the inside, pushing Bats a little bit wide. Who's now losing 2 positions, not only to Lyle, but also to Ben, who's reclaimed 4th position. A lot of curb there being taken by Lyle and Ben. We're losing some time now as Bats is trying to regroup. And Young now joining in on this fight. It's got Wehrmann right behind him. Holding on to his 7th place is Wehrmann. Trying to make that a little bit lower as he just receives a drive-through penalty for cutting. That's going to put Wehrmann all the way further down. Well, there's contact in the rear. That's Bailey off the track. Matt Raid feeling responsible for that. Slowing down. And waiting for Bailey to go on through. And now he's moving again. Corvus going on through in 9th place now. Was in 8th, so not the greatest race here for Corvus and Raid. One driver to be very happy with that is Lyle, because that is going to be the competition. Hutton in 1st, currently 2nd in the standings. He's going to be happy with Johnson behind him. Does need a few points to gain that position again in the standings. So Wehrmann serving his drive-through penalty now. It's not as big of a loss as Bailey would have hoped. Corvus is on through. Wehrmann are down to 9th. Ellis been passed as well. Bailey not able to get past and will still stick in 10th place. Young now right behind Bats. This three-way fight. Well, almost a three-way fight. Ben is still quite close to the cars ahead. It is still quite close though. Ben is in 4th. Lyle is holding 3rd place. Johnson, 2.5 ahead. Who is about 6 seconds behind Ollie Hutton in 1st place. And it's going to be very difficult for Lyle to gain that 1st place again if he wants to. But even after a spin, or should I say a slide in final sector, Lyle is doing remarkably well to keep it up here. As the fastest 1st sector is just being set by Renee Young in 6th place. Fastest 2nd sector by William Johnson, the car that we're looking at right now through the eyes of Adam Lyle. Johnson trying to creep closer and closer to Hutton, has done so on the past lap by about 3/10. Lyle, if you look at the hood, that is not where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a little bit further flat. He has received a tap on the front. As Lyle puts in the fastest lap with the purple sector 3. He's trying to make his way through. There it is. Small bit of damage there on the front of the Elantra. As Bailey will be going into the pits. That will be to serve a drive-through penalty, no less. And Lyle now trying his hardest to get onto position 2. Noah Bats trying his hardest to hold on to position 5, but Renee Young not making it easy. Currently in 6th place. Young has got the fastest 2nd sector on the previous lap. The fastest 1st sector, I should say, on the previous lap. Now not looking too fast, but is still attached to the rear of Noah Bats. Has a look there to the open door, but because it's right before chicane, there's not much you can do really. And it's interesting the different lines that these drivers take. Ben makes sure he gets so little of those sausages. Noah Bats sends it right onto it. Rene Young has somewhere a line in the middle of that to try and keep his car steady. It's currently in that order. Ben, Bats, and Young. As Young has just gotten past Bats, just off screen. So they're heading towards the final few corners of the track, and Bats has gone ahead of him again. That might indicate a very big send, an ambitious send by Rene Young. 6th place now for the number 7 car, as he's chasing down P5 and P4. Johnson is chasing as well. In the previous lap, gained about 6/10 on Ollie Hutton. He's going to have about 4 or 5 laps to go still. And with those 6/10 per second, per 6/10 per lap, I should say 6/10 of a second per lap, you're not going to make that to the lead of the race. But you are going to secure yourself in second because Adam Lyle is on similar pace. Tiny sliver faster on the previous lap, just 1/10. Is looking for P2 to pull some points away from Johnson. Ollie Hutton is going to be very happy with that. William Johnson, currently our championship leader after a double podium last week. The only one looking at a double podium now is Adam Lyle in 3rd. Young now very much on the rear. There it is. Bats with the familiar curb strikes through the chicanes, allowing Young to stay close, but not close enough to get the overtake done. He has to stick behind for now on this difficult to overtake track. Small look there by Young as Rick Corvers has received a drive-through penalty from 8th place for cutting the track. Unsure what he's doing, but he is losing out time. Currently in 8th place and will drop down to 9th at the very least. Matt Raid might be in there somewhere as he gets out, or Ollie Smith maybe. But it doesn't look like the fastest lap, the fastest race from Mr. Corvers. Matt Raid down in 10th isn't very happy either. I think the only one happy with this event so far is Adam Lyle, as he's going to get a win. And now looking at a 2nd place, or 3rd place, almost looking at a 2nd place for our 2nd race. Young getting closer and closer to Bats, decides not to go for an overtake here into turn 3. We'll slot behind and follow the number 44 car through. And that will be onto sector 2 of the racing track. And this is where it starts getting difficult to get past. So Young has to settle for something more exciting on the back straight, or on the start-finish straight. So heading towards the chicane. Maybe there is an opportunity. Bats. Oh, again a look from Young. We see Bats once again go very far over those curbs. Young taking a bit more risk this time around. Looking to maybe gain some more time on Bats, because he is still trailing and he hasn't been able to get past at all. Bats now defensive. Young is looking towards the outside. Switchback is possible. This corner once again, a left-hander. So going from right to left to right, you can just switch sides if you're Bats and stay on the inside line, giving you that advantage going into the corners. And Young still looking ahead, nowhere close to being able to make that overtake happen. And I think I can confirm that there's 3 more laps going. Ollie Hutton currently 20 seconds in their lap. That means 4 minutes as Hutton crossed the line. That means 2 laps, and then he can still do 1 more before the white flag is out. And he's going to hit the finish line on that 3rd lap with a 1 more to go. Well, actually, it might be 4, actually, now that I think about it. I'm not going to think about it too much, because Johnson is gaining quite rapidly. Another 6/10 taken out of Ollie Hutton's time. And with 4 laps, he might just be able to do it. Adam Lyle, similar pace. Tiny bit faster, then a tiny bit slower. Johnson doing a fantastic job of cutting down the time from Ollie Hutton. Unsure where it's happening, but it's definitely going to be happening here where Johnson is using so much of the track. Lyle is now within that second, but I doubt he's going to do anything until the final lap. We asked them before the first race, what are you going to do? And their answers were not lose each other time. But if it came down to it on the final lap, things are going to get a little bit more risky. That's what they admitted, and that's what I'm expecting Lyle to do with Johnson as well. Follow each other through, trying to catch the lead, and then fight for the win of the race at the ending of the race. Inside being open, that's Young getting very aggressive there to Bats, who is getting back on the track properly. Still ahead of Young, but losing out on Ben ARS. Not on position, but just on time. Ben still in 4th place. Bats in 5th. Young in 6th. A little bit too aggressive for a move. Bats all the way to the inside, trying to cover anything off that Young can do. So they're heading on to the first turn. Bats back onto the racing line. Can't move anymore. There's a small look there for Young, who decides not to go for it and follow Bats through onto turn 1. Corver's now serving his drive-through penalty. He's going to lose to Wehrmann, lose to Raid. And there is Smith in the back. And Young now receiving another drive-through for cutting as well. Corvers has served his drive-through. He's now behind Smith. If Young takes that drive-through, might be ending up in this fight here with Wehrmann and Raid. Raid looking super strong in the early race. In race 1 and then early on in this race as well, but now just not able to do too much. Now fighting with Wehrmann, who started on pole, down to 8th place. Raid from 9th, staying in 9th. He's not going to be too happy with this. Raid in that Elantra with the ballast. It gives us more tire wear towards the end of the race. Same goes for Ollie Hutton and Adam Lyle. And Hutton, with the most ballast, is feeling it. Ben now defensive. Because Bats is, well, not yet, but it has to go soon because Bats is on a charge. Currently does not have to worry about Young behind anymore because Young just got a drive-through penalty. He can just focus his eyes up ahead. Trying to catch Ben off guard. Ben currently 5th in the standings. Bats in, I believe that's 10th place. Quite far down the order. We'll have to try for something special soon. Young now serving his drive-through, and our top 3 on the penultimate lap. Ellis on through, and Young exiting the pit lane. There it is. There's the fight with Wehrmann and Raid. Young was entitled to the corner if he could get ahead. Doesn't have the speed for it though. Wehrmann on through, and Raid getting alongside. This will be a fight into turn number 3. I believe Raid should have the upper hand there, having the inside line. Will still get that position off of Young. Up to 8th place for Raid. Young into 9th. Now, one more interesting thing we should look at is if you look at the mini-map, the track map on the top right side of your screen, you see 3 dots traversing our 2nd sector. This is Ollie Hutton, the first of the 3. Then we have William Johnson, the 2nd of the 3. And Adam Lyle, 3rd of these 3. It has, once again, been closing in with the gaps. We are not on the final lap. We are approaching the white flag, which means there's only 1 lap to go. There's less than a second between P1 and P2, and there's less than a second between P2 and P3. It's Hutton, Johnson, Lyle for our podium. In what order? No clue. No one will know until the end of the race. Final lap has been started by Ollie Hutton. Defensive on the inside, just to cover off anything that Johnson might do. Back on the racing line, Johnson and Lyle following through. Turn 1, neat from Hutton. Johnson and Lyle just forced to follow. Going on to turn 3, it's still the same order as they were before. No one's getting close enough to battle just yet, but we did see a difference in pace. On the previous lap, Johnson went about 6 tenths of a second, faster than Hutton. Adam Lyle just a 10.5 slower than Johnson. So they are gaining in certain places, and I believe it will be in Sector 2, where Ollie Hutton's tire wear will really start to show in those mid-speed corners. It's going to be after the chicane that are coming up now. Ollie, after a mid-speed corner, already losing so much time to the cars behind. The chicane needs a lot of grip as well. That's Johnson. Now super close to Hutton's car. There's only 1 chance for this to work. Hutton has to pull on his best defensive boots, trying to see if he can keep Johnson behind Lyle. A bit too far to make a move. Might pick up something if these two battle too harshly. And Hutton, after those mid-speed corners, will have to look into the final sector of the track. No moves being sent by Johnson so far. Going up to the penultimate corner, it's still Hutton, Johnson, and Lyle in P1, 2, and 3. Hutton still ahead of Johnson going into that penultimate corner. And it's still going to be Hutton coming out of that penultimate corner. Onto the final one. Hutton might be cheering already in his car because he knows that there's no way Johnson can get through anymore. It is Hutton to win race number 2. Johnson in second place, and Lyle taking home that double podium, P1 onto P3 in race number 2. Ben ARS just barely holding on to 4th place, with Noah Batts in 5th, right behind. There's a very big gap towards Ellis in 6th. He was about 15.5 seconds behind. There he is, the final corner. Now we're coming up to the start-finish straight. We'll be happy that this race is over. Then a little back behind of the cars that had a drive-through. Wehrman, Young, and Raid. What order will that be? It's going to be Wehrman, Young, and Raid. Exactly in that order. Not a very big difference between them. Smith on through in 10th place. Corvus in 11th. Bailey in 12th place. And Dixon not taking to the start after not doing too great in race number 1 either. But it's Ollie Hutton to still hold on for the lead of the race. And he will get that victory under his belt. An absolute crazy race with a very, very close finish. I think someone who will feel that in his nervous system. Heart rate 180, Ollie?
Yeah, from lap 1.
from lap 1, gaining the lead of the race and then being chased down by arguably the 2 fastest drivers on the grid right now. It's William Johnson and Adam Lyle taking over the pace there, Ollie. How stressful were those final few laps?
I just knew that I had to build up as much of a gap as soon as Arno started holding people up. Like I owe that to Arno, let's face it. He defended for his life, and I just managed to pull a 5-second gap. If I hadn't got that, there was no way that I don't even think I'd have finished with a podium myself, because I would have just let it get to me too much with these two, because they're too quick.
So I guess someone has received a shout out just now. Arno Wehrman finishing in 7th in this race, so still doing a great job of holding on to some of those positions. Then in 2nd place, William Johnson, our championship leader. Maybe not anymore after today. We'll see. We'll see shortly, because there's been one man who's got quite a lot of podium finishes today. Johnson gaining on Hutton. How close were you guys I saw you guys really, really close on the track, but how close were you to absolutely sending it in the final sector?
Very close. It weren't for the tyre wear that I think we were all feeling in them final laps, I would have definitely just gone for it.
I was
But yeah,
kind
that
of
was good.
expecting you to at some point. You were super close. I think you looked once or twice, and I saw Hutton struggling in sector 2, some mid-speed corners where indeed a tire wear was really settling in. I really thought you were going to move it at some point in that. I think it's not the penultimate, but the corner before that, the first corner of sector 3, the right-hander. Were you worried
Yeah,
about? Were you worried about Lyle behind as well?
yeah. I was watching Lyle catch up from for 10 minutes. I was wondering if I could catch Ollie first. I was gonna go for Ollie in the final laps, but I wasn't sure if the grip would hold. I didn't want to just take him out and then lose the podium fully.
And Adam sitting in third wasn't the greatest start of the race. I heard you and Matt Ray talking about getting through and going to the front. Same with Rick Corvers, but at some point, the three of you got separated, and you're the only one that actually made it through towards the top 5. What was that all about in the first half?
Just obviously cold tires, bit of traffic. Made a couple of places up at the start, but then I can't remember who it was, but someone completely shut the door on me. So I think I dropped back to starting position. Had a few little clips with people, so I had to ease off as well, let them back past. And yeah, had a few shunts in the rear, so I was just a bit too late getting clear from, I think it was Ben in P4. Took a bit too long to get past him, so Ollie had got too much of a lead from there, I think. So well done, Ollie.
I was still
very much.
very, very tight towards the end of the race. Next week we got the Uruguay. We got El Pinar ready on the circuit on the calendar. I haven't actually seen too much of this track. Is there anything you three can tell me about the track? What I should look out for, or anything I should research before we head there next week?
T1 and 2 braking zone into T3. That's probably the most horrible part of the track, but it's unique. I don't think I've ever experienced anything quite like that start, like the first sector.
So just again, turn 1. Is it the same for every single track? Spa, Hungary,
Yes,
Monaco, just turn 1.
you'd class it as T1, but you've got T1, T2. They're like the braking zones for T3. There's like minor little kinks
Yeah.
in the track sort of thing. But
Looks
yeah,
like Zolder maybe. As like Zolder turn 1 is like, is that similar, or is it? I'm just completely talking rubbish
no, I
now.
wouldn't say it's similar.
Okay,
Adam,
well,
you've raced it. You've raced it. You know what it's like. I can't think of another track that kind of compares to that starter part. Like just the way
Yeah.
that the elevation just drops away from the bottom of you as you're braking.
It's certainly a tricky little sequence of corners. I think if you get your braking wrong when you're on the curve for the little turn 1 kink, it completely sends you out wide. You miss turn 2, 3, and I think it probably knackers you up for T4 as well. So it could be interesting. I reckon it'll be the most interesting T1 possibly in this championship.
I mean, we knew last week was kind of interesting already, but let's just not get too much ahead of ourselves. I guess I'll see you three somewhere next week on the race. Hopefully, again for you guys in another podium position. So, congrats on the podium, Adam. Congrats on the double podium today. I think you might have taken the lead with this one.
I hope
Checking
not.
with that right afterwards. But thank you all three so much for driving here and for joining in on the interviews. And hopefully, we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
No,
Good
mate,
broadcast
thank
again.
you.
Right, and I do think we have our updated standings on the screen here, and that does show that Adam Lyle currently in first place overall, William Johnson in second, Ollie Hutton in third place. And that does shake up the standings a tiny bit further behind. Ellis in fourth, Raid in fifth, Ben Ores, Noah Batts, Rick Corvus, Thomas Potter dropping down to ninth, and Ollie Smith entering here 3 positions down from where he was in after the end of round 1. So our standings shaking up a tiny bit with more drivers getting points and more drivers getting some podiums. Now, for next week, like I said, we were on to El Pinar, and for the rest of our calendar, we still have Portugal to go in the race of Portimao. Of course, was our pre-season race, and we've moved that up towards round 4. Then we have Bathurst and Macau finishing it off with a different format. The first 4 races are 25 minutes plus 1 lap, like we have seen last week, or 2 weeks ago and this week. And the final 2 races will be Bathurst and Macau. Those will not be timed, they will be on laps. So we'll have 12 laps around Bathurst and 10 laps around Macau. That gives me a little bit of an easier time to say we have this many laps remaining, because today was absolutely rubbish because of those final few seconds that we had on the timing. That being said, I think we've seen enough of the action here today. I'll welcome you all back again here next week for our Uruguay track El Pinar. Very excited to hop on that and show you guys the action around there. I've been Olaf, aka Wops Racing. You can find me on my socials at Wops Racing or on wopsracing.com. You can find Authentic Racing E-Series right here on the YouTube channel. Join us on the Discord as well to chat with the drivers and maybe join in on a future season as well. So thank you all so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.